welcome to the Previously On podcast. I'm Jillian Bonanne, and joining me today is a guy who was absolutely giddy over Lexi and Fez. It's my husband, Tyler Branch.
That is who I'm shipping in this show. That is my couple right there.
You found him. You found your couple. It's the only couple we're all, well, Rue and Jules we ship to, but...
And good thing there's no red flags with Fez at all, you know, just normal chill guy.
I think that's why we love it, because it's so unexpected. Who would have thought that they would have thrown this at us in the season 2 premiere?
When it starts happening, whenever Lexi is sitting there and Fez sits down, or vice versa, whatever it is, and they're sitting there and it goes, "You Rue's friend," and I'm just like, uh-oh, here we go. Giddy up. And they're just chatting about everything.
You were giggling. You were so excited by their scenes. You were loving it. It was so funny to watch you watch it.
How you know all that? It was so good.
It's great. It's perfect. We love Fez. We got our Fez episode finally. It's all happening.
I love it when she says, "Yeah, I've known Rue since preschool." I don't know why I said that. And then he goes, "You met when you met."
He's like, "Don't you worry about it. It's so good."
How great that we got a Fez episode.
I know.
Fezco background, and even threw in Ashtray lore, which I wasn't expecting.
We got both of their origin stories. And, you know, it's about what I would expect, but also very jarring and shocking to actually watch it.
This is what you expected?
Not
this was
fully,
pretty dark.
But it was darker than what I expected.
Yeah.
Because Euphoria just takes it there.
I loved it. I thought, wow, Euphoria is back with a vengeance, you know? I can't imagine, again, this is my first time watching Euphoria. You watched these eps when they came out, but I can't imagine that electric feeling of Euphoria just being back after you've been watching just COVID slop for 2 years. That's like shot in a room. Now, I love the specials, but like the specials were stripped down. So like we're going from, you know, just two people talking in a diner to this is just, you know, hundreds of extras and locations and crazy scenes. And I was like, this is so fun.
I mean, I remember watching this episode when it came back, because it came back in January and there's nothing going on in January. We're all sitting around bored, and we're all done with COVID. We're all so bored with all the shows on. And then Euphoria comes back and it is bigger than ever. And the energy of this episode is so big. It's over an hour long too.
Yeah.
And it is just firing on all cylinders. They're saying we're back and we have a bigger budget than ever that we are spending.
They did. They certainly did.
I do like that season 2 already, just off the get-go, there's a different vibe than season 1. And I'm glad that they did that, because there was about, 3 years in between season 1 and season 2.
Mm-hmm.
If they came back with it just being the same, I think we would have gotten bored with it. I don't think we would have loved it as much. But the way that they shot it looks differently. And the vibe is just a little different, but still what we love about Euphoria. And this was just such a comeback.
I mean, season 1 would have some of those, like, you know, Scorsese shots of, like, the camera running up to someone's face for a close-up. And, you know, obviously some Paul Thomas Anderson and things like that were influenced. But this felt like, the opening especially, it felt like we were going, like, hardcore Martin Scorsese, like Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street, just wall-to-wall music. I mean, I was looking up the soundtrack for this, and it was like 4 pages of scrolling all the songs that are in this episode. It was like a little bit less Labyrinth, which, I mean, Labyrinth was amazing last season, and it was like, whoa, now we just suddenly have such a different vibe of just all these short snippets of songs just making us feel like crazed, you know?
It feels like a movie.
Yeah.
It feels like a movie, to quote Harry Styles.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about. He was talking about this episode of Euphoria when he said that quote.
He was talking about a TV show. Yeah, like I said, it just felt like, the first minute I felt like had more actors and locations than those specials did. So it was just quite an announcement.
Well, today we are talking all about Euphoria Season 2, Episode 1, Trying to Get to Heaven Before They Close the Door. You told me this was a Bob Dylan song.
It is a Bob Dylan song. It's from that
I didn't know
90s
that
album
beforehand.
I love. It's
oh my God, 90s Bob Dylan? That's where they took this from?
It's from the album that has To Make You Feel My Love, the best version of To Make You Feel My Love that I tried to get you to play at our wedding. And you were like, no, we need the Adele version.
The Bob Dylan version is not nearly as good. I understand he wrote the song, but Adele was meant to sing that song.
This is that album. Trying to Get to Heaven Before They Close the Door, which again, this show... We've talked about it a little bit. There are a lot of religious overtones to this show that have been there since the beginning.
Yes, since season 1, they've really brought little snippets of religion into it. It's not like fully in your face, but there's definitely religious components that they touch on.
Absolutely. I mean, because we were talking about in the specials... There was a lot of talk about redemption too, and salvation. And I do just feel like it's so interesting hearing Fez's perspective on all this, of how he's so devoutly believing in God and believing in like trying to be a good person, and is doing, Lexi calls him out on this like cognitive dissonance of like, how do you justify the way you're living when you believe you're going to be judged by God? And I think that's what the show's reckoning with, kind of off to the side.
And I think, though, that's a question that they're asking throughout all these seasons. And I feel like they're going to touch more on that in season 3, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. And I think that the movies it's referencing are purposeful in that, like, these are movies that have questioned and struggled with this as well. Like, Rue gives like a Pulp Fiction speech at one point in season 1, and that whole movie kind of ends with the hitman being like, I'm trying to be the shepherd, like I'm trying to be a better person. And I do feel like this show is like how you struggle with addiction and the desire to be a better person. But when grandma comes walking out with that jacket that says God's word and God's will, I was like, they're telling us what the show is.
They are. And then, she shoots her son.
Then she shoots
classic.
Then she shoots Fez's father while he's getting a blowjob. And I was like, Euphoria is back.
We did say, we were like, there we go, penis out, Euphoria's back within the first 2 minutes.
A hallway of just, women with just their legs spread, stripping, and then we see this man get shot with his penis out. I was like, here we go. We're back.
Here we go. All right. Well, let's give a little quick recap on season 2, episode 1. This is pulled from IMDb. I did not write this myself. So in this episode, Rue and Jules cross paths for the first time since Christmas as East Highland rings in the new year. So basically, it's the Euphoria High New Year's Eve episode.
It's the big New Year's Eve episode. It is amazing how tight the timeline is here. That this is basically 2 weeks after the finale, I guess. The winter formal, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's season 1 finale is winter formal. So you're assuming that's around December time. Then probably the specials are over Christmas. And then now we have New Year's Eve. So many years have gone by in between these seasons, but they kind of pick back up where they left off.
I was looking out for something. You've told me to always look out for these shows, and it's the season 2 glow up. Did you think anyone especially got a glow up? I sort of thought, this show might be a tiny bit of the exception since everyone was so damn good looking to start with.
I know. We didn't get like any huge glow ups, really. I do think everybody looked a little bit older.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way either. No. You could just tell, especially because we're watching it, so quickly. You can tell that people are looking a little more mature. But no one looked crazily different. I think Jules has some new hair, so
Yeah.
she's looking a little different. She looks like, oh, I want a new look before I go back to school after winter break.
I
That's what
appreciate
Jules
that.
is
That's
giving
fun.
me. Yeah. But yeah, no, these guys were killing it already in season 1. They didn't need to do much.
But again, the show's budget was just out of control because the way it opens with the grandma flashback all the way into the drug adventure, and then we get to just a house party. Like the whole thing, it just kept growing and getting just more insane.
I mean, this New Year's Eve house party was so crazy. There were so many people there. This house is huge. Everybody is dressed up, to character, but very glitzy. Like everyone has on an outfit.
Except, well, Lexi was in a normal blouse.
I was like, can you guys, come on, give Lexi like a tank top or something. That blouse was covering everything.
Yeah. It did feel like at Euphoria High, you'd be wearing at least something tighter or something.
Yeah, she was in a loose blouse. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love her vibe. She's
love
great.
it.
But yeah, the big New Year's Eve. But I don't know how late this party was going. It felt very late, It felt like people have been partying a long time.
When we were getting to midnight at the end of this episode, I thought, it hasn't been midnight yet. I feel like these people have been here for hours.
I know.
And
it felt one of those crazy nights.
Yeah, it really did feel that way. I mean, it felt like Euphoria High New Year's Eve, Euphoria Town New Year's Eve. They did it right. Everyone's making mistakes. Yeah. We get right into it in this episode of everybody just doing what they do. Doing what
Although
they
not to
always
spoil
do.
any Tyler's takes, but there's got to be a second bathroom in this house. What in the world? There are 500 people at this party. We are in a bathroom disaster if this is the only bathroom.
I will say there also would have been a much longer line for that bathroom.
Yeah.
There would have been there were so many people there. You would have had 10 girls lined up.
Yeah, at all
times. And Maddie never would have gone to the bathroom by herself. She would have brought a girl with her.
Yeah. But I don't know. She came back with a guy. So maybe that was her strategy.
She knows how to do it. She never disappoints. All right. Since this is a New Year's episode, we have a very special top 5 to honor the Euphoria New Year's Eve. So the top 5 for this episode is top 5 New Year, same mess moments.
I think that's fitting.
If you thought that these kids changed at all after the winter formal or learned anything, they haven't yet.
Yeah, no. It's crazy.
And that's how we want it. It's even crazier than it was in season 1 so far.
Yes.
All right, number 5, New Year's same mess goes to Ashtray kills mouse with a hammer.
My God. I would like to apologize to Ashtray because I think in a previous pod I said, Mouse is so scary that I think he even intimidates Ashtray. And I was dead wrong. He does not intimidate Ashtray. Ashtray killed him in one shot. Came flying in there like a ninja or something with this hammer. It was crazy.
I mean, he got the job done.
Yes.
I guess, but this happens directly after we see their backstory. And we got Ashtray's backstory here too. And you're like, oh, wow. I mean, these boys have been through a lot. Like, this is dark.
Yes.
And then immediately after this, Ashtray goes and kills Mouse.
Let's just reiterate what the backstory is. So the backstory is that Fez's grandma, and she's just known as Grandma, was a notorious drug dealer in town who shot his dad and took him with her, and then raised Fez as her drug dealer partner. And then one day, a customer left their baby as collateral and never came to pick up Ashtray. And then Ashtray, who she's just giving baths, living in the sink, would just sit in the sink and get his baths, would eat cigarettes. And she started calling him lovingly Ashtray. And this is the backstory. It's so crazy.
I mean, that was sweet the way you just said it.
Yeah.
You made it sound
Very
sweet. Yeah.
But until Fez gets hit in the head with a crowbar.
Yeah, that is when things started to get real dark.
And it's like, I don't know if grandma knows what she's doing.
You know what? They learned a lot of business sense, though, those two, Fez and Ashtray. I love when Fez calls Ashtray his business partner.
Yes. Business partner.
Yeah.
That was great when he's reiterating that later on, of like saying the exact same words grandma said, of like, why is there a kid here? It's like, that's my business partner.
I think that the backstory of Fez and Ashtray helped me to understand then how Ashtray became very violent in this moment, because we haven't really seen him that way. And I think if we did not get this in the beginning of the episode, we would have been like, what is going on here? But, you know, it just makes you wonder, is Ashtray okay?
They gave us so much sympathy and empathy for Fez and Ashtray, seeing just this difficult upbringing. We find out that grandma, you know, had something happen, a stroke or something, and then they couldn't call an ambulance because of all the drugs in the house. So he has to drive her to the hospital, which seems to make things a lot worse, to where then she's just in a coma, and that's where she's been ever since. And it is just, you're so heartbroken for what their lives have been, that then they hit you with the other side of the coin when you see how dangerous and violent they can be too.
But you still feel bad for him.
Yeah.
You know, you still feel for them. You're like, well, Mouse is a bad guy. Mouse isn't doing anybody any favors.
It might have been a like, it's us or him kind of thing. Like, it did feel like Mouse might be about to kill them.
Well, that's what I think Ashtray thought. And Ashtray was like, I'm just going to go in here because this is about to get bad. And he just wanted to protect Fez at all costs.
We'll say Fez said it well when he said, I didn't like the way he does business. And, you know, he's right. This guy was using some very manipulative business tactics.
Yeah.
Being
that's
like, you have to take all this merchandise, whether you want it or not.
Yeah. And that's not okay. So.
But man, Ashtray sneaking in there from the side and then just jumping in and taking out both guys. He killed Mouse and then broke Custer. Is that his name? I think was his name.
Yeah. Mouse's accomplice.
Which I never thought Custer was going to be the one that like survived all this and became more of a main character, the side guy who had just been, but
that guy barely had a line in season 1, and he was in this episode a bit. I was like, good for him.
He didn't seem to have deep allegiances to Mouse. He's like, I guess you're the king now. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I guess I think that does seem to be, at least in movies, how it works in drug dealing world, is you just kill the person above you and take their spot.
It seems to be similar to the mafia, how this is all run.
Yeah.
As far as I know from what I've seen on TV and movies. All right. Our number 4 New Year same mess moment goes to the drug deal going awry. I mean, Rue is deep into her relapse. She is very high. We get introduced to Faye, who's doing heroin in the car. They get taken from the car. They all have to strip to make sure they're not wearing a wire. We meet Laurie. A lot was going on in this sequence before we got to go to the New Year's Eve party.
I think you couldn't like peel the smile off of my face, because I was just loving where they had gone here for the season 2 opening. I was like, this is so dark and crazy.
Yeah.
Of just showing you the underbelly of like where the drugs come from. And
we haven't gotten this far into the drug world before as we are now. And I do think they're really setting up the rest of the season with this, that this is going to be a much bigger part of the storyline. I mean, we had Mouse before, but we had a Fez opening. So we know Fez is going to be a bigger part of the storyline. And now we see this long drug deal.
Yes. Well, I think it opens with that part of like Rue in the back seat, like rapping, and like it's kind of that I feel like it's making the point of like she's not taking this seriously of
Yeah.
where like and it's like oh you're still living the like fun part of drugs, the like being high and partying it up, and they're like no, we're doing the serious part of drugs now, where like we have to meet someone we don't know and it's going to be very very scary and dangerous.
This show does a good job of every time they show drugs maybe looking a little bit fun, of like Rue having a good time in that backseat rapping. Then they're like, no, now we're going to show you the underbelly of the drug world and how dark this all is.
Yeah, that's true. And then when you see Faye, who just is like,
oh my,
seems to be much more of a full-on junkie
yeah,
than like we have really been seeing these other people before. Crazy casting on that. You were telling me how she's a porn star, and then I was reading how she was like cast for this role, and it had done like Euphoria porn parody before this. And I'm just like, it's so wild how this show picks people that like are from all walks of life.
but I think that they just try and like bring in these real characters, these real life characters to play these parts.
She's captivating. When
Yeah.
she's in the car with like Zendaya and stuff, you're like, whoa, this is wild. Cause like her lines are so funny and she's just casually doing heroin. She says, it's New Year's. She says, my boyfriend doesn't tell me anything.
I mean,
like, this person's a wild card.
She was great. Like she's great in this role. And
she's hilarious.
That's an amazing line. My boyfriend doesn't tell me anything is so good.
And then pulls her leg up and shoots heroin into her thigh. And I feel like Rue's like,
crotch
whoa.
out. Crotch out. Yeah.
As Rue's still trying to tell her sob story version of Jules leaving her at the train station.
Yeah. Rue.
It's complicated.
Rue is not okay. Yeah. Rue's still going through it with that breakup. She'll tell it to anybody who will listen.
She'll tell it
to
anybody, especially when she's a little high.
Yeah.
But it's so scary then when the guys grab the girls and bring them in. And that guy is scary, who is like running things for Laurie.
I know. And that moment where he takes Rue away and brings her into the shower to take off her clothes, to make sure she's not wearing a wire, like that is terrifying. I mean, the whole thing is terrifying. And then when they get out of that situation and are on their way back, Rue, you can tell, is like on this high. She is like, that was crazy. Like just, yapping in the back seat. Like she is like on this high of this. And Fez is like, no, that was scary.
Yes, Rue is living the movie version of this, of like voicing how we feel as the audience. But like, Fez is very, he's complicated because he seems to live by a code, and it's like he wants to handle things peacefully, but he's like, violence can be the solution sometimes when, because he basically resorted to violence with the doctor when the doctor was going to pull a gun on him. And then also he was like, Mouse was going to kill him. So like he resorted to it there. And he doesn't feel as openly violent as these guys did with Laurie. You know what I mean? There's something so scary about them where it feels like, do these people have any kind of code is what makes them so scary that it just feels like they might randomly kill someone?
Those guys do not have a code. Laurie's guys have no code at all.
Yeah.
You can just tell, just the way that they were handling everybody and speaking to them. It just felt like if somebody did make the wrong move, they were about to get shot.
Yeah. And Rue trying to get out of it by being like, I'm in high school. And I'm like, I don't think these guys care.
I know. I did think smart, though. Smart.
Yeah. She tried.
Move, Rue.
She tried. Yeah. Meanwhile, Faye was naked in 2 seconds.
Faye was like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, Faye and Custer were both instantly naked.
Yeah.
They were just like, this is just normal routine, guys. This is just what we do.
It does seem, though, like Fez just wants to do business. He He doesn't want to do violence. He does not want to deal with this part of it. He seems to hate it.
Yeah.
He just wants to do his business and get on out.
It goes back to what Ashtray was saying of like, I'm just trying to pay my mortgage.
Yeah,
this ain't a game. But as we've been talking about, that this one was more loaded than anything with film references. I thought that one was really, really referring to a couple things. I thought that was referring to Reservoir Dogs because of the way the guy is dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Madsen is dancing around as he like violently cuts up someone they're holding captive.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of adding to that scariness with like music playing. They're turning up music and dancing around. I think that's that. And then also the whole thing with Rue, I thought really was referencing Blue Velvet, which is a David Lynch movie where like a guy gets brought into more of the underworld of seeing the darker, seedier characters in town and what they're actually up to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think you're right. And Blue Velvet kind of does that switch too of, this is darker than what I thought. And I think that that's what they were telling us with this episode. Like, this is about to get dark.
Yeah, I was telling you, I think people, there's obviously so much Scorsese in this, but I really think there's a ton of David Lynch in this that like I don't know if everyone's fully seeing, because like Blue Velvet is also about just a teen romance kind of thing that just gets real dark, and that's what Euphoria is doing as well.
You sold Blue Velvet to me as a teen romance, and it is not that.
I did get you to watch it, telling you, it's about a teen romance that David Lynch made. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I think that is an accurate description based on these IMDb recaps you're reading.
I think yeah, that's the IMDb description version. But you need to tell people about the dark stuff of that movie before you recommend it. I just wasn't prepared. I thought it was going to be light and fun. We're having a good time.
But you know what I mean on the Blue Velvet thing with it?
Yeah.
Of like getting pulled in and being just like, whoa, this is what's really going on in this town?
Yeah. And sadly, I think that's the more realistic of the drug world. Like, you know, I think that they're showing us this when the movies go there and go that dark with it. It's because it is dark.
Yeah. People do die. Like a lot of people. Right. It's really bad. And, you know, with all the craziness we've talked about in this sequence, the most chilling thing is how calm Laurie is.
I know.
Unsettling.
I know. Just
former school teacher.
Former school teacher Laurie will return throughout season 2.
I was going to say, she was. I was like, whoa, who is this person?
It is so eerie. I've never been more scared of a character than I am of Laurie.
Yeah.
She's way too calm for all this.
Yeah. She is the Walter White here that is like fueling this. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, you know, I will say Fez handled it all well. No one got hurt. They got out of it. He's got his deal. He now seems to he seemed to get his franchise. He was basically there applying for a franchise and he got it, you know?
So Laurie's the new mouse. Laurie is who is supplying him the drugs.
No, he's the new mouse. Laurie is
okay, so he's going to have more clients now.
Yes, Laurie is the person. I took it that way, that Fez and Ashtray are the new mouse. And so Laurie is now kind of the big supplier for the area.
Right, because Mouse was going to Laurie, so that makes more sense.
Yeah, because basically Mouse then would take it to all the drug dealers in all those towns.
So Fez kind of got a promotion.
Yeah, he moved up by Ashtray putting a hammer in Mouse's head.
You know, we can count on Ashtray. He's loyal. He's loyal.
Ashtray, stone cold killer.
Whoa.
We'll get to it. But I was going to say, Nate Jacobs, you got it pretty easy. You're lucky you didn't sick Ashtray on you.
That would have been way worse if Ashtray was involved in that.
You would have been done for.
All right, let's move on to our number 3 New Year's Same Mess moment. It goes to Cassie and Nate hooking up.
Wow.
Wow. I mean,
Cassie.
I don't think girl code means hooking up with your best friend's abusive ex. What is she doing? She seems so good at that winter formal that wasn't that long ago.
I know. Was she still like on, maybe she was on some kind of medication after the abortion. I don't know. Because she seemed back to the old Cassie in this one.
Yeah, she could not get away from that Nate Jacobs attention.
She's sitting out there in front of a gas station because what, her and Lexi got in a fight about something?
Yeah, we don't know what it was about, but they got in an explosive fight and Cassie just got out of the car. So then we see her at the gas station eating donuts, and who comes on in? Nate
Prince Charming.
Jacobs. Yeah. In his big truck.
Wow.
And
tall guy, big truck.
Not in this
Shy
case.
Guy, dare I say?
Shy Guy is dead. We're done with Shy Guy. Now we're just left with toxic Nate Jacobs. He immediately asks her if she's still with McKay. Barely says hi. Just right away asks her that.
He's a predator analyzing the situation.
He is. He was lurking up to her. And the way he was trying to get a read on everything, it was given psychopath.
He said, "Do I smell a vulnerable woman?
Yeah.
I must need to protect her."
Yeah, which we know he loves to do that. I wonder if she was wearing like a feminine choker or something. He loves those. He probably saw no body hair and was like, "Up, here we go. Me and Maddie broke up. I'm ready to cause more drama."
Wait till poor Cassie gets the list. You got to have no body hair. You got a long list of things to take care of here. It's so sad though when she's sitting there and she said she just wants to work on herself. And she said she's been making a lot of mistakes lately and not learning from them. And immediately Nate says, "You want to ride to the party?" And there she goes. And I'm like, listen to yourself, Cassie. What are you doing?
This was one of the bigger mistakes you could make.
Yeah.
It
just
was
associating with Nate Jacobs. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, don't get in that car with him. You know it's going to be a bad idea. I mean, even before they started hooking up, he's drinking while driving and driving at 100 miles per hour.
That was scary.
It's scary.
Yeah.
You are wondering for a second, are they going to get in a car wreck?
Yeah. I think that was also, I'll quit talking about all these, but just I thought that was also referencing some David Lynch movies. I thought that was referencing Wild at Heart and Lost Highway, which are very much, and she already was Alabama Worley from True Romance, which is kind of just like you get in this fiery romance that you're going to, spoilers, but it's not going to end well for you. And Lost Highway is also got some very scary scenes of just at night driving, like speeding, and has this eerie tone of what's to come. And it's also that, and Wild at Heart really plays into this too, of this kind of fake American dream of the good looking guy and the beautiful blonde, and they're just driving to their demise,
Well, I feel like she's looking at him in that way of we make a good looking couple.
Yes.
Look at us. I do think that that's a part of this because she's kind of looking over at him in the car a little bit. And you can just see those wheels turning wow, we make a good looking couple. We could be that all American type of couple. The blonde and the tall, good looking guy.
Yes. And they're drinking, Budweiser beer and driving a pickup truck and driving fast. It's all kind of commenting on this kind of stereotypical, cool couple. And just we're looking at it and it's a horror show.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a horror movie. And it gets even worse. It literally does turn into a horror movie when they're hooking up in the bathroom and Maddie starts banging on the door, which I like that they made this look like a horror movie because hooking up with your best friend's abusive and toxic ex-boyfriend should be portrayed as a horror movie.
There is something about Cassie too, where she acts like she's like the victim of all these circumstances, as if she
I
didn't
know.
do this. You know what I mean?
Like her eyes get so big and she
Yeah,
has
I'm
that like
like, how did this
terrified,
happen?
scared look.
Yeah,
And Nate even says to her at one point, "Are you crying? You
yeah.
haven't even been caught yet. Why are you crying?"
I hate
Like
Nate
it's
Jacobs, but
so
that was
mean. I know
really
it's
funny. He really had me laughing at saying that. He's like, "Why are you crying? You're not caught yet."
he
I'm like,
delivered that line well.
this is what Cassie does, you know. You can really play Cassie bingo in these, as if there's a reference to, you know, her getting wet or her crying.
Oh my
Drink.
God.
Because
I
they
know
make another joke about that in this, you
she
know?
was getting turned on in that car. She was scared for like a second and then
Mhm.
she got turned on and I was like, "Oh no."
Yep.
And then I was hoping they'd just hook up in the car, but they have to bring it into the party, into
Well,
the
that's what I mean.
public space.
She acts so much like, "Oh no, how did I get caught? How did this happen?" Like in the bathroom, and I'm like, "You were just taking off your panties in the truck a minute ago."
I
Like
know.
that
I
is quite
know.
a reveal, though, that they were already at the party. That was some fun editing
That
because then we
was,
were like,
yeah.
"Oh,
And then she is trapped in the bathroom for a
yes,
lot of this episode. She is in
long
there for
time."
a long time, and you are just on the edge of your seat watching Maddie
Mhm,
pee, watching Maddie smoke with that guy, or watch him smoke. She's not even
mhm,
partaking in it, and
yeah.
just chit chat with this guy, flirt with him, and she is just in that bathtub the entire time.
The humiliation of Cassie knows no bounds on Euphoria.
I
Of
know.
it feels like she's constantly punished for being like, you know, a slut. It's like at all times it seems to be like we set her up to like she makes some, you know, impulsive decision to hook up with a guy and then like she's terribly punished for it.
Yeah, that pee towel to her face, that was that was rough. That
Yeah.
was gross.
She's just trapped in there once again, just horror. We're like on the edge of our seat because like, how are they gonna get out of there? Hides in the shower, and then when Maddie comes in there, it is just like, oh my God.
I know. You're just wondering what is gonna happen. I
Yeah.
think with Cassie, they constantly show her really trapped in the poor decisions that she makes. Like, you know, they had her get pregnant. Like they had her
Mhm.
like she just get it's like she I think a lot of times is a character who does face really bad consequences for her
Mhm.
decisions. Like she does not get away with things for the most part. I mean, she did get out of the bathroom in this, but
Mhm.
it's still like that was like teetering the line. It just feels like out of all these characters, she does, and I think she does face consequences, but she just gets in this downward spiral then.
It's so funny though, whenever Lexi finally gets through, we're like, no, Lexi, don't call
I
her right
know.
now. Don't get close. Don't get service. And we see just that phone she's trying to pull up. But it's so funny is when the phone finally does buzz, that guy that like Maddie brings into the bathroom to flirt with, he's just like, oh, there's some passed out girl in the shower. That's it.
She's like, whatever, I don't care. Let's go dance. I want to make Nate
Yeah.
jealous.
Yes. She
I
loves
love
doing
it.
that.
She is so funny. Maddie is such a funny character on this show. Like
I love Maddie too. She's so
yeah.
funny. Her outfits never cease to amaze me too. I was like, look at this shoes and these sleeves, like the whole glammed out look. I'm like, wow.
I think it's because she's one of these characters who's having more fun in this show. Like she
Yeah.
went through a lot of dark stuff, I think, in season 1, and it does feel like in this episode at least she is like, I'm gonna have fun at this party. I'm
Yeah.
gonna enjoy myself. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna, meet guys. I don't care about Nate Jacobs anymore. It does feel like she has moved on a bit, at
Hmm.
least. Not
Yeah.
saying that Cassie should have moved in, but she's having a good time with her girls. She's having a good old time.
She's a good flirter too.
Yeah. It's
She
fun
really
watching
like
her flirt.
gives it to these guys in like the right way. Where like not going too mean like Kat, but like, you
Yeah.
know, getting a good back and forth going.
I was enjoying her banter with Travis, the bathroom guy. It was fun.
He
It
had a
was
good
fun
line when
to
he was
see
like,
her
I'm the guy when she said, do I know you? And he said, yeah, I'm the guy that met you in the bathroom line.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to just
Smooth.
watch her flirt and have fun and not to be in the toxic Nate Jacobs spiral.
Yeah. Hand that on over to Cassie.
Yeah. Well, and you know that Cassie is going to get directly into this spiral. You just know it. You know she's not just going to be like, we almost got caught. I feel like this is a really bad idea. I shouldn't be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to do that. Even though in the season 1 finale, she swore off guys and she said she needs to be single.
Well, it's been a few weeks. And it's New Year's Eve.
Anybody else? Kiss anybody else at that party, Cassie.
I know.
All right. The number 2 New Year, same mess moment goes to Rue and Jules reconnect.
Yes.
So they are apart for a lot of this episode, and you are just waiting for them to have a scene together. You're like, come on. We left things really weird in the special. We don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Rue almost dies at one point at this party.
She does. That's scary.
Her heart rate goes incredibly slow. She has a very slow pulse. And then takes an Adderall to balance it out with whatever drug she has in her system already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a moment that was. That was crazy.
That was scary when you're having
that
to have
was
someone
really
else
scary.
check your pulse for you after. Yeah. He was like, did we do the same amount of drugs? And she was like, nope.
Yeah.
She's been doing a lot of drugs.
I know. That was dark. In that moment, I was worried Jules was going to walk in and see her like that or something.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And then they see each other by the fire. And it is awkward. And Jules asks Rue when she relapsed. And Rue says, when you left town, which is just a lot to put on Jules.
Yes. It's a lot. I mean, she clearly wants to hurt her a little bit by saying that.
Yeah.
She's missing her and just sad.
She's also, Rue is mad that Jules is calling her out on being high and relapsing. And Rue tries to say, it's just a little marijuana. But Rue is... It's like,
but
okay,
I'm like, Rue must look crazy.
I know.
I like to say you like smoked a little pot. And I'm like, Rue must look so strung out.
Like, girl, you almost died in that laundry room. Okay. Yes. That was not a little marijuana.
We were counting your pulse just a minute ago.
But she gets so upset that Jules is calling her out on it. She does not like that. So she goes to hurt her right back.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that might be it.
Yeah.
But then right before midnight, we get the two of them back
the bulbs
together.
Start flashing.
The bulbs start flashing and they start kissing.
Yeah. You were asking me if I thought that was real, that kiss. And I was like, I think it is, because I do feel like they do these over the top dramatic visual moments sometimes when those two hook up. And like back when the bed was spinning, when Rue was feeling that, of like when they were like first saying like they loved each other and kissing each other in bed. And like I do feel like this was a reconnection of them, and that made me happy because this has been a long time coming since they left each other at the train station.
I thought that it might be fake because Rue apologizes before then, and she says, sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. And I thought that could be fake. That's why I kind of thought the whole scene was fake, because I was like, oh, she's just going right then to apologize. But you could see that of just like Rue has had enough, and she's like giving in to Jules again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't know what's real after the rules tattoo. I feel like you got the rug pulled out from under you on the rules tattoo.
I know. I'm questioning everything now. I don't know what's real and what's not. I'm like, Rue is unreliable.
Yeah, but there's a lot between these two, but they have such a connection to each other. You want them to be together, like.
Well, and they also can't really stay away from each other. I mean, they were able to over winter break. That's a very different situation. Jules ran away. She was grounded for a long time. This is probably the first time that they were more able to be together in more of a social environment too. And that's always going to cause something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had forgotten that Kat was that really Jules' friend, that like they were friends from summer school. I forgot that part because then I saw them hanging out the whole time and I was like, oh, yeah, that Jules was Kat's friend, really.
It was fun seeing them together again because they make a lot of sense as friends to me. I think they have a lot in common. And it's just nice to see Jules having scenes with other people on this show. Other than Rue or sadly Nate Jacobs.
Well, I think Jules even talks about it with her, doesn't she? And she's like, I kind of got too centered on just one person and not having like a full life, which is not a good idea. Like, again, I want Jules and Rue to be together, but yeah, it can't just be that like they're only with each other and that all pressure for Rue's sobriety is on Jules.
I want Rue and Jules to be together, but I also want them to talk. Yeah. They never really talk about any of these things. And these are deep things that they should discuss if you are going to be together. We keep seeing them not talk about anything, and it's like making me so nervous. I'm like, there's just no way that this can end well if you guys aren't going to talk any of this out.
A lot of bad communication.
Yeah. But when they kissed, I was like, yay. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Fair.
But then we got that new guy. Is he going to get in between them?
Oh, yeah. What was it? Elliot?
Yeah, Elliot. We got Elliot.
I was shocked to see him in the next week preview. I was like, oh,
I know.
This is a recurring character now.
He's a character.
Yeah.
He does a musical number at one point, not to spoil it, but
whoa. Him and Rue had a moment in that washroom.
Yeah.
Snorting drugs off the washing machine.
I don't know if Jules is going to love that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Well, it's what I've said. If sometimes you got your druggy friends and, it doesn't always align with your sober friends.
I know. Or I could see something. I don't remember what happens with this, honestly. It's been so long. I could also see Jules and Elliot. I don't know. I just feel like 3 is a crowd and something's going to happen.
3's a crowd?
With this. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Drama. They set up so much, though, in this first episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it was packed.
Whoever would have thought that they would have Cassie and Nate just hooking up already? Like, there was no buildup, which I love. But a lot of times when shows come back, they want to give you a little bit more of the same. This show said, no, we're giving you Cassie and Nate. We're giving you new guy Elliot. We're giving you Rue and Jules back together. They took away the buildup, which I mean that in a good way.
And it felt like they also put some finality on Cassie and McKay. Like it did feel like that combo they have is the end. Because, it would left things hanging there weird of like, she told him she was pregnant, and then we really didn't get much follow-up from him aside from his not great reaction. And so it did feel like they needed some kind of closure. Yeah,
I'm glad that we got the closure with the two of them.
Although I don't think it went well. But no. I guess we got closure. Like, when she was like, I'm a bad person or something. Was she like insinuating she'd cheated and stuff? Like,
yeah, she was saying that. I mean, this is also right after she just hooked up with Nate Jacobs. But
much less Daniel.
I know. Ugh, I hope we never see Daniel again. But it does feel like McKay was coming crawling back a little bit here. Like, McKay, go back to college. This is
Yeah.
not a good fit right now.
Yeah. You're at a high school party, dude.
I feel like he came running back after she got that abortion. Like, okay,
Yeah.
now you got that taken care of. So
I'm back.
let's talk again. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
dude. All right. Number 1, New Year, same mess moment goes to Fez gets revenge on Nate by beating him to a pulp.
Yes, he does.
Hits him right with that Tito's bottle.
The old Tito's bottle to the head.
I mean,
it is quite a shot. And I will say it's bad how much we're like, yeah.
I know.
But then it gets so violent. We're like, ugh. Like, you know, I'm like, this is ugly. This is really violent.
It's enjoyable to watch a little bit, though. You know, it was nice for somebody to one-up Nate. We haven't seen Nate really one-upped at all yet.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell did Nate think was going to happen? You turn in a drug dealer, and if he like is still on the street, you like honestly, he's lucky he didn't just like shoot him like at a random gas station. You know?
I know, but they were really showing what Fez is capable of. And I still love Fez, you know? I'm sorry.
He gets Lexi's number, and then he gets up and he takes his sweater off. And she's clocking it all. She clocks it early of like seeing that Nate's there and seeing them. And Fez just goes over there, and Nate's like, "Did you want to kill me?" And he's like, "Yeah, New Year, man." Like, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just boom.
I was like, oh, Fez is being kind of kumbaya about this. I wasn't really thinking that beating him up was going to be the mission. It seemed, I thought it was going to be something different, like more people involved or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was shocking when he takes that bottle to the head.
And he really beats him up. Like his face is just getting destroyed. And then
he doesn't
like
stop.
Cassie tries to pull him off.
Time.
He pushes Cassie down. Then McKay tries to pull him off, and it feels like he's about to beat up McKay. And
I know.
Then he gets out of there. But you know, we get a couple facial, like a couple reaction shots to it that I was interested in. Is Rue's is hilarious because it goes to Jules and Rue seeing this, and Jules is just like shocked by how violent it is.
Yeah. She's like just mouth open. Jules is mouth open.
And Rue is like, damn. Like it feels like she got what she wanted a little bit.
Yeah, she did.
She wanted to see Nate Jacobs beaten to a pulp.
The look Rue gives is so good. It's just that classic look.
I mean, Zendaya's faces are so funny. She was making such funny faces in the drug deal thing earlier.
I know. She really says it all with her face. That's for sure.
She's very good at it. But what about Lexi's reaction? What did you take of Lexi? Lexi also looked shocked, but it was not the same as Jules' like shock at the violence. It felt like a conflicted about like having enjoyed spending time with Fez all evening. Because, you know, he's working her. He's like, you know.
Well, and he's actually listening to her. How many people have listened to Lexi in her life? I don't think many, especially guys. We really haven't seen that. Her own mom, I feel like, barely listens to her.
Yeah.
So I think she was just so happy to be talking to somebody, especially a guy then, who was just interested in what she had to say.
Yeah. Where, I mean, he tells her like not to be doubting herself so much.
Yeah.
And he is so genuinely intrigued because he's one of those guys that, because, you know, his life has not afforded him the privilege to focus on, you know, a wide ranging education. Like he's very good at like clearly math because that's what he needs to know for drugs and running this business, in the same way that like weirdly Rue knows her biology and knows like how to like counter pulse and stuff because she needs it to take drugs. But like,
and like chemistry of mixing the drugs too.
Yes, but someone like Lexi is able to like read all sorts of things and have this wide ranging knowledge, and it feels like Fez, since he doesn't really have that opportunity, is like really respects that and is like, you know a lot. Like, I'm interested in you.
That's why I think she was giving that conflicting face, because I think Lexi knows Nate Jacobs is a bad guy.
Mhm.
So I think she's like, well, you know, Nate isn't the best guy ever either.
Mhm.
And he's done some terrible things to a lot of people.
Mhm.
I think, too, it was conflicting of, I just had this really lovely, nice conversation. He was very subdued. And then all of a sudden, like a switch turns and he gets very violent.
It's so great when he gives her the McDonald's line that Grandma always told him, and Lexi just immediately has a rebuttal of just like, I don't know if the CEO of McDonald's is getting into heaven for like doing all this. He's like, I'll get back to you on that.
It's so good. Oh, their banter was very cute. I think I'm just rooting for them. That's why I'm like, Lexi's fine. Like, she'll get over it.
Yeah. And, you know,
we'll see though.
They give us a lot of setup for like why Fez is capable of this kind of violence. We see his life. We see what's happened to him. We know what he's up against, you know. I mean, he also got hit in the head with a crowbar. Like, he might have some slight mental issues from that. I mean, he said he had 2 months of being like blacked out.
I know. I don't think Fez and Ashtray are fully okay.
Yeah. Like, he might have like CTE stuff going on in his head.
I don't know if they've really ever been to a doctor. So I don't know if they're all okay.
The drug trade, not great for health insurance. Yeah.
Give me more Fez and Lexi, you know? Give the people what they want.
Can I give you an honorable mention?
Yeah, what's your honorable mention?
I think an honorable mention for the New Year's Same Mess is Nate Jacobs being weird. Because him talking to McKay and like getting in his face and asking him like if he hooked up with Cassie and like, where did you come? Like that weird territorial masculinity that almost comes off as like, I don't know what it comes off as. It's strange. It's really strange.
Well, even McKay was clocking how really strange it was. I think at first he was just like, oh, like he wants to know if I had sex, you know, guys being guys, locker room talk, whatever. And then he was like, this is getting really aggressive and really weird.
It crossed a line, yeah.
And it feels like Nate is exposing himself a little bit in that scene too, of how weird he is, honestly.
He's weird. Yeah,
and how possessive he is. Because he shows his possessiveness in that scene. And I feel like McKay's like, what's going on? This is bizarre. Yeah. But it's like he's already seems to want to be possessive over Cassie.
It's so strange because it's like Nate Jacobs' sexuality is weird already.
Yeah.
And then you're right. Then it's this bizarre macho-ness of just my territory. Are you on my...
I think with girls, that's where he gets really possessive. He doesn't seem to be that into them, but he is possessive over them. And Cassie just seems to be another one that he is going to be possessive over.
Possess me.
She just might be happy with it. But he did this with Maddie. He did this with Jules. He was possessive over Jules too. Stalking her and all that. So here we go again. Psycho stalker Nate Jacobs.
Back for season 2 of Euphoria. New semester.
Psycho Nate Jacobs will return in season 2 of Euphoria.
Yes, he will.
You know he will, even if he's going to be in the hospital from this Tito's bottle. All right, time for Tyler's takes.
Sure. What I wrote down in the notes app while I was watching the app. Just got to give a shout out to Cracker with a bowl cut. I thought that was an incredible character
My
name.
God, I
One of the
forgot
best
about
character
that.
names so far on this show. That one had me.
I wonder what the casting for that character was like.
That bowl cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of guys sitting there with a bowl cut in the room.
Yeah, I bet you some people cut their hair for that to try and get that role.
Amazing having a Fez episode. Just made us think once again of just how sad it is that Angus Cloud is dead, that he overdosed and has passed away because he was an amazing actor.
It's really
effortless.
sad. Yeah.
And you helped me, you told me about his story of how he was just kind of just working in Brooklyn at a restaurant and just was just discovered by the casting director. Amazing.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what you were saying too, of them wanting to cast more real people in certain roles on this show. And that's really one of them. But then he turned out to be this amazing actor. He is so good. And
his
obviously,
delivery is unbelievable.
It's so sad he died just for, how young he was too. But you just know this guy would have had an amazing career because he is so talented.
Absolutely.
It's effortless for him.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're getting more of him in season 2. He's a bigger character this season, which I'm excited to watch more of him, but it also makes me sad.
I know. It's very sad. I was saying I imagine in the credits for the premiere of season 3, there'll be something about Eric Dane and Angus Cloud.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Rue rapping in the back seat. You think Ash likes Rue? I feel like sometimes Ash is like, Fez, why are we hanging out with this girl?
Ash is like, we have business to do.
Yeah.
You need to get your head on right. You need to get your head on right to do business. And we cannot be bringing this high girl to these business meetings.
Yeah. Well, he loves Rue.
But she's some great comedic relief on these drug deals. Yeah.
I love too when Fez has to be like, you gotta chill out, Rue.
I know.
When he suddenly his voice is always so low and calm, and then sometimes see it to Rue, he has to try to get her attention.
You do see how much Fez cares about Rue, and we've seen that a lot in this show. But it really does warm your heart just how much he does care about her, because we don't know how she ended up in the back of that car, but we kind of know. She went to him for drugs, and then he had to go and do this deal, and she went with them. And I feel like he didn't want to leave her alone then when she's like this.
I don't know if he's completely real with Laurie when she asks, is that girl a junkie? He's like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's like, she fucks around,
yeah. I feel like he was like, she's not like Faye doing heroin in the backseat.
She's not Faye who just put her legs behind her head and shut up.
Yeah. Faye really brought a different bar,
Yeah. I really laughed at Rue trying to turn Laurie into some kind of female empowerment thing. That really made me laugh.
How many female drug dealers do you know? So good.
I wrote this down. The rest of the cast entered at 26 minutes in. Before that, it's just the Fez and Rue show.
Yeah.
And then we got the full party, and then there it was weird because then it was so much more of an ensemble, because then it was just you barely see Rue. You check in with her, but
I thought what was nice though about this episode is that we brought Fez into the party and into the other world. So we kind of have the drug world, and a lot of times that's Fez and Rue on their own with Ashtray. But then when we brought Fez into the party, then he really more entered the Euphoria high world, where he's talking to Lexi, he's talking to Jules. He more than was a part of that world. And a lot of times he's not as much.
Yeah. Well, we love any episode that brings the whole cast together, whether it was the carnival or Halloween or the winter formal.
Give me an event in this Euphoria town, and I am there. I'm sold.
And my other note was just Rue and Jules finally talked to each other at 53 minutes in. I was like, they were killing us, making us wait for this.
They were, yeah. It was a long wait.
I got quite concerned that we didn't hear a lot from Kat. I find that quite concerning because I love Kat. And it was sweet to see her and Ethan together, but I wanted more.
Be concerned. She is in a limited role this season, unfortunately.
That makes me so sad.
Which is such a bummer because I love her. I love her character so much.
Love Kat. I wanted to say there was kind of a vibe to this. I thought with the vibe shift in season 2, it felt like season 1 was kind of, with all the bright colors and the glitter and just that total vibe they fully achieved in season 1 was about getting high. And this feels like that feeling of like when you got as high as you could get, but you kept doing drugs or kept drinking way past that. And now you're at this kind of darker level of like, you're just kind of numb now, and I felt like the aesthetic matched that.
Well, that's why the party felt like it was 5 a.m. already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was just kind of giving that vibe. Like, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. And my last note was just, I could listen to Fez say, Jewel, all time. He's like, I know who you are, Jewel. And she's like, no, Jules. And he's like, I got you, Jewel. It was so good. And I was like, this might have happened in real life. And they just wrote it into the scene. It was I got that
vibe. I was like, did he just keep saying it like Jewel? This just does
even
not
the caption
feel like this was
spelled
written.
It like Jewe.
Yeah. I was like, this feels like it just happened. And they left it in. It was too good. It was too funny.
I had a ball with the Fez episode. This was great.
It's so good. This was a great app. I loved it so much. I mean, I was a little worried of like, is season 2 gonna be as good as season 1? Was this a fever dream after COVID that we all were obsessed with and thought was so good, but maybe it doesn't hold up? So far, it really holds up. It is so good.
I feel like season 2 is going to be Nate Jacobs driving that truck 100 miles an hour and seeing what the hell happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, season 2 is on a lot of drugs already, like in a good way.
Is.
Like,
I can see things spinning out of control.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to go on this ride. We will be back for season 2, ep 2 of Euphoria, and be sure to check out our past episodes. We've covered all of season 1, and now we're making our way through season 2 before the season 3 premiere on April 12th. So we're going to be dropping all these episodes. Don't you worry, we got you. And be sure to follow our podcast wherever you get your podcast. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. We would love that. It really helps. Follow me on social media at previously_on_teen TV. Subscribe on YouTube and buy our merch on Etsy. Thanks for listening.
Bye.